Okay, so we've got a profit formula here, okay, where S is the number of cards that she sells and M is the number of cards that she made, okay, so you've got to be clear about that. Now, it says 1 week she sold 60 cards, so in this case S, yeah, is the number of cards she sells, so we can say, look, S is going to equal to 60. This is the key bit here though, I'm getting this question right. It says, but made a loss of £30.60. How many cards did she make? Now, how many cards she made is referring to M, isn't it? The number of cards she made. So we want to work out what M is. Now, we've got to associate this to this, but you've got to remember P represents profit. Now, if she made a loss, that means it's sort of like negative in that sense, yeah, because it's not a profit, it's not positive, it's a loss, which means negative. So because the context here is talking about profit, okay, and she's actually made a loss, we need to write minus £30.60 there, okay. 2.99 then times S, well, of course S is 60, take away then 0.7 M. So on the next line, I keep that there, but I perhaps work that out, 2.99 times 60. And we get this. Now, you can be sort of clever about how you manipulate equations, okay, because you might think, now let's just take that over, okay, so we can have the M on its own, and I'd agree, you know, we want to get the M on its own. But if you notice here, this is a minus 0.7 M. So why don't we take this over that side, okay? So minus 0.7 M. If I take all of that over, it becomes a plus 0.7 M. So I'm left with a 179.4 here. But then, of course, that minus 30.60, take that over this side. Okay, so you're kind of swapping them, and that becomes a plus. So minus becomes a plus. So you get 0.7 M, which is equal to 210. And then, of course, to get the number of cards she made, we will be doing 210 divided by 0.7, yeah? And, of course, then that will come out to be 300. Part B then, what was the minimum number of cards she needed to sell that week in order to make a profit? In part A, they said that she sold 60 cards but made a loss. If we want a profit, obviously she has to sell more than 60 cards, okay? But she did make 300. It's just the question is then, how many did she sell, okay? Now, they don't tell us what the profit is, but look at the wording of the question. What's the minimum number of cards she needs to sell to make in order to make a profit? So basically, we want the minimum amount so that she doesn't actually make a loss. She starts to make a profit. In other words, this P is not going to be negative, yeah? So we want P to be positive or greater than 0. So we've got an inequality here, okay, which could come up. So essentially, when I substitute in this formula here now, we want the profit, P to be positive. We don't want it to be negative. In other words, 2.99S take away 0.7M to be greater than 0. So if I plug in then what I know, well, I know she made 300 cards. So I can work that out there. So I get 2.99S take away, well, 0.7 times 300 is 210. Now treat this like an equation, right? So take that minus 210 over, and it becomes a positive 210. And then, just like an equation, because you times in here, take the 2.99 over and divide. And we get 70.23 blah blah blah. So basically she has to sell more than 70.23, right? That more than symbol there means that's what she's got to sell in order for her to start making a profit in order for this formula here to start being positive. And of course, you can't sell 70.23, but if you round it down, okay, and say 70, well, you haven't quite met this situation, haven't you? Okay, so she'd still make a loss. So she actually needs to sell, you need to round up, she must sell a minimum of 71 to start making a profit.